This debate in Constituent Assembly and the Uniform Civil Code was put on vote in the subcommittee of the fundamental rights. And most of the members wanted that this would be a part of fundamental rights. Ultimately, government of the time, and Constituent Assembly decided that it should be part of the DPSP, Directly Prescribed State Policy. That is a moral precept to the any existing government. What is the Uniform Civil Code? It is not the interference in any religion. It is a evolved law for all the citizens, where no discrimination with any citizen. This is what I call a constitutional justice and constitutional obligation, which has been the very, very fundamental thing in the Constitution, which has been suppressed under the minoritism and the politics and policy of appeasement. In 1952, Acharya J.B. Kriplani, who was a socialist, who was not an RSS member, in the Lok Sabha, while debating on Hindu Civil Code, he said to Nehru, it is not the Hindu Mahasabha is a communal, it is the Nehru government which is a communal, which was trying to exclude a particular community from the uniform law. He wanted that this uniform law should be applicable to all. But
sir, Mr. Sinha, I'm just coming in because, I've been extensively reading up on this as well, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. But in 1956, did not Nehru champion the Uniform Civil Code, especially where women's rights were concerned?
No, Nehru has dual personality. While philosophically he supported something, and electoral advantage, electoral benefit, he did something else. So Nehru has a split personality, and I consider that many times Nehru has contradicted his own position. I'm coming to the fundamental thing. Supreme Court, not only Sahabano case, but later on in many judgments, argued for the Uniform Civil Code. At least half judges of the High Court in more than dozen times argued for the Uniform Civil Code. What is wrong? Why people are opposing it? Naziruddin Ahmad, who was the member of the Constituent Assembly, that time he said a very important thing. Before coming to Uniform Civil Code, we should get the consent of the community. But how long? So already 7 decades. And all this liberal democracy in the world, whether it is France, whether it is US, you are talking of the liberal democracy. While you are talking, the liberal democracy will quote America, he will quote France, he will quote Britain. But when it comes to the core of the liberal democracy and secularism, the Uniform Civil Code, you just go to the personal law. You can take the sense of the freedom of religion. This is not going to contradict the freedom of religion. It is 1937, a law was made where personal law was protected. That was a colonial regime. They wanted to divide and rule. They protected the communal forces, and they were just pushing the agenda of two nations theory. And this creates a two identity theory in this country. And I'm last quoting K. Munshi, who said that there should be uniform civil identity in the nation. And this is not, and moreover, one thing which is suspected, and some people propagate that Hindus would impose their laws to Muslims. It is not that. It is evolution. And that's why RSS Joint General Secretary, Dattatre Hoswale, he said that this should be wide discussion on that. When we say wide discussion, this means democratically evolution of a law in which all the section of the society, all the stakeholders should give their suggestion, vote their suggestion. It should be like a melting pot, positive melting pot. Sometimes melting pot is a negative concept. This is a positive melting pot from which you are bringing out a one law which is equally applicable to Atikur Rahman ji and me